What's up, Giant Slayers? Brandon here from David vs. Goliath BJJ. In today's video, I'm going to share 6 things every white belt should know by the time they get their blue belt. So if you're a beginner, aka a white belt, and you want to know what you must know by blue belt, then keep on watching. The first thing you must know by the time you get your blue belt is basic vocabulary and an understanding of basic positions. So that way your coach or instructor, when he's trying to talk you through a certain position or show you a certain move, you have an understanding of what he's saying. For example, if you're trying to learn finance, there's a language of money that you have to know in order to understand finance or to understand money. For example, what are things like a Roth IRA or ROI, return on investment? Just as finance or money has its own language, so does Jiu-Jitsu. So get familiar with Jiu-Jitsu vocabulary. What's an underhook? What's a whizzer or an overhook? What's a crossface? What's mount? What's back mount? What is half guard or what is full guard? The difference between a cross collar grip and a same side collar grip. Every Jiu-Jitsu blue belt should have a basic understanding of Jiu-Jitsu vocabulary. That way it's easier for the instructor to teach them and it's easier for you to learn. Which leads me to the second thing every blue belt should know, and that is the point system. Now, regardless if you're training sport Jiu-Jitsu or you're just learning Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense, in my opinion, you should get familiar with the point system, and the reason is because it'll give you an understanding and a sense of direction on what you're looking for while you roll. There's a reason why in sport Jiu-Jitsu there are points awarded, because there's value associated with those positions. So for example, 2 points for a takedown, 3 points for a guard pass, 4 points for a mount, 4 points for back control. As a beginning athlete or a white belt, this gives you a basic understanding of what to go for. So that way you have a sense of direction while you row and train. In my experience teaching kids, a lot of times I'll teach them a technique, but they're not able to be successful with that technique because they don't quite yet understand the strategy. For example, if I were to teach them a scissor sweep from guard, if they don't have an understanding of the value associated with sweeping somebody over and reversing the position, they might not go for it. But all of a sudden when you attach 2 points to it, kids begin to understand, okay, I get rewarded for this. I get 2 points. And it's the same exact thing for adults. So if you have a basic understanding of the point system and you know what you're rewarded for in competition, that will give you a sense of direction as you roll. So my advice in regards to this is if you're trying to learn a new technique or a new move, make sure you understand the strategy behind that move. And that leads me to the third thing you must know by blue belt, and that is how to tap out. Story time real quick, guys. Okay, so when I was a blue belt, one of my best friends started training Jiu-Jitsu, and he didn't know what was going on. He was a brand new white belt, first day of class, and I had just learned a nice cross collar choke from closed guard. And so I went for it, and I was choking him, and he was brand new. He didn't even know how to tap yet, and he ended up falling asleep in my guard, in between my legs, and I had to kind of roll him off of me and bring up his legs and call my instructor over, and eventually he woke up. He was a little bit embarrassed, but regardless, the lesson learned here is when you're new, you have to learn to tap out. You have to learn when you're beat and when you're not going to get out of something. And so for safety reasons, so you don't pass out, you don't fall asleep, you don't go unconscious, and also, you don't hyperextend your arm or just put yourself in danger at all, make sure you learn to tap out. And also on the flip side of that, make sure when you're applying submissions that you know when to let go. Thankfully, I had the awareness that my buddy had passed out, and I had let go. I can't imagine if I kept choking him, not realizing, hey, how come you're not tapping? And all of a sudden he's asleep and I'm still choking him, 5, 6, 7, 10 plus seconds after you fell asleep. That could be really dangerous. And so there's a reason why most instructors won't teach white belts or beginners leg locks. And again, that falls back on safety. When you're new, you don't know exactly what you're doing. And that's okay, and that comes along with being a white belt. And that's why you won't learn things when you're brand new, like heel hooks or ankle locks, toe holds necessarily, because for safety purposes, is to protect you and to protect your training partners. Which leads me to the fourth thing you must know as a blue belt, and that is how to fall properly. And so to demonstrate this, let's head on over to the mats. Alright guys, so when it comes to falling properly, there's 2 main falls or break falls that I'd like to address today. One being the shoulder roll, 2 being the back fall. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to start from my knee here. In fact, this is a great way to practice if you're a beginner. Start off down on one knee. I'm going to make space with my outside leg here. And I'm going to take my right hand, make a fist here. I'm going to punch it through the big hole. Okay, I'm going to punch it through the big hole. I'm going to drop my shoulder. Okay, I'm going to roll through. Right, and when I land, I want to make sure I'm landing in the side position here. Okay, too often I see guys roll through and they try to roll up. Alright, this isn't a ninja roll, it's a break fall. Okay, so when I try to roll through here, I'm not trying to do this ninja roll. Okay, I'm trying to break my fall. Okay, so I'm here, coming through. Alright, slapping the mat. Again, making sure your head doesn't touch the mat. Okay, and you're not doing one of these numbers where you're trying to roll up. Because again, you're going to hurt yourself if you're actually getting thrown. Alright guys, and the second fall is the back break fall. So if I ever get taken down through a double leg or get swept and somebody pushes me backwards, okay, the reason for this fall is so that we don't hit the back of our head on the mat. Okay, so I want to learn to do a nice chin tuck. So as my momentum carries me backwards, my head's not going to hit the mat. Okay, I don't want you guys getting a concussion or a headache. When we teach the little kids, we tell them, don't let the head touch the back of the mat, otherwise your brain's going to fall out. Okay, but again, for safety purposes, if you get taken down through a double leg or you get swept, anytime your momentum's carrying you backwards, try not to do this. Boom. Here. Okay, you never want your head to touch the mat. Okay, so when we fall, a lot of times I'll see guys in class do this and they're doing it wrong. Okay, they're slapping the mat properly, but they're allowing their head to hit the mat. Okay, the whole purpose of this drill, okay, if you got taken down on the street, right, where you fell, you tripped, whatever, is to learn the chin tuck so that way the back of your head stays safe. My hands slap out at a 45-degree angle. That's to stop my momentum from going backwards. Okay, so if somebody really took me down hard, boom. Alright, somebody took me down with the double leg, boom. And my head stays safe. Alright guys, so that leads me to the fifth thing you must know by the time you get your blue belt, and that's to not have an ego. You know, over the last 13 years, I've seen a lot of guys come and go, and I've seen a lot of guys who go from white belt to blue belt, and all of a sudden they have a change in mindset. To them, the color of the belt is never properly explained to them, and so they feel like all of a sudden they have a target on their back, or like they have something to live up to, and it adds a little bit of extra pressure. You know, I've also seen a lot of guys who go from white to blue belt, and all of a sudden they just vanish. They disappear and you never see them ever again. And I think that has a lot to do with the standard or the expectations that are put on them from their instructor. And sometimes it's also the lack of explanation. And so for you, I'm not sure where you're training or who your instructor is or what it means to have a blue belt. But for our academy, our instructor just puts a lot of emphasis on a blue belt being you know how to roll safely and that you typically have experience from about 6 to 12 months. Being a blue belt in our gym doesn't mean you have to be beating all the white belts. And I think that's where a lot of new beginners go wrong, is because as soon as their belt changes, all of a sudden their mindset shifts, and all of a sudden that ego comes back in and they don't want to tap, they don't want to lose to somebody who has less experience, and they feel a sense of shame if they lost to a white belt, or you know, while they're rolling in class, if their instructor is looking at them while they're training with white belts. You know, they feel like they have to win. They have to be better than them. And so getting back to my point, you guys, what it means to have a blue belt, in my opinion, is to not have an ego. It means to leave that ego at the door and just come in with the expectation that, hey, I'm here to learn and I'm here to be the best person, the best version of myself every single day. It also means to be a good sport, you know, to say, hey, nice job, nice tap. You know, if you caught me, you caught me. All right, guys, and so that leads me to the sixth thing that you must know by the time you get your blue belt, and that is respect. What does respect mean as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and what does that look like in the context of your gym? You know, to me, respect means coming to class on time. It means being prepared. It means you know, cutting your toenails, making sure you have clean feet or a clean body. You didn't just come straight from work with dirty feet or dirty clothes. It means you have a cleanly fresh gi. It means you don't leave your gi bag or your stuff hanging on the floor. You don't drag your belt as you're coming into class. You don't step on the mat with shoes. You know, simple things like that. Just having a respect for your gym and for the environment in which you're training. You know, the gym isn't just a gym. You know, for a lot of people, it's their second home. It's their happy place. It's the place that they deal with their anxiety or depression or anger. You know, it's a place where they make friends and have a good time and make memories. And so just as a good friend would go to a friend's house and have respect for their home by maybe helping out with the dishes or leaving things better than when they first got there, take that same mentality into your gym. You know, if you see a piece of tape or a piece of trash lying around on the mats, throw it away. If you have time after class to help sweep and mop and clean up the gym, that's a big deal to your training partners and especially your instructor. Having respect as a blue belt also means, you know, not purposely trying to hurt somebody while you roll, because you understand that you know, they have a job to attend to maybe afterwards, or family to take care of, and also that you want them to come back the next day because you know that good training partners are only going to help you get better. You know, and also have respect for your instructors. Just realize that your instructor's probably been training for a really long time. He's putting in a lot of hard work and dedication. And showing respect to your instructor, not only does that show respect directly to them, but that also means you're showing respect to the lineage in which they come from, and also for Jiu-Jitsu as a martial art as a whole. And lastly guys, as a bonus, have respect for yourself. Don't be hard on yourself if maybe you're not learning as fast as you'd like to. Remember why you stepped onto the mats in the first place and all the benefits that Jiu-Jitsu has to offer. Alright guys, there you have it. 6 things that every white belt must know by the time they get their blue belt, in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed the video today guys. If you did, be sure to give that like button a slap and a fist bump. And let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway from today's video. And if you guys want more videos on how to survive and thrive against the biggest guys in your gym, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you stay in the loop choke and you don't miss out on weekly videos. Thanks for watching guys, and remember, victory always tastes better when you're the underdog.